お願いします。So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our presentation today. I'm really happy everyone wants to know more about animes and games. It's a subject I like a lot, so makes me really happy to see so many people interested. Um, this seminar, it really began when uh, I did a presentation about using anime in classes. Then Mihoko-sensei got in touch with me. She said this should be you should really show it to more people. So we did it an online seminar about this anime in classes uh, in Portuguese back then. And then Makino Sensei got in touch with us. So the next one was in Japanese. And now we are doing the English version of it. Uh, this this seminar is being recorded, so you can watch it later as many times as you want it. And at the end, we'll also be answering questions, not only from the presentation, but anything that's anime, gaming related, Japan related. Ask me anything, okay? So let's get started. I hope you guys enjoyed. Excuse me. はい、見えますか？大丈夫？はい、OK。
はい、見ます。
はい、ありがとうございます。So first I'll talk about a bit about me. My name is Fabiano Shimada Assanuma. I'm from Brazil, São Paulo, in a small town called Registro. Registro is like 3 hours away from São Paulo. And it's, well, there's a lot of Japanese descendants here. Myself, I'm a fourth generation Nikkei, so I'm a Yonsei. And I started teaching Japanese in 2017. Then 2018, I took the Japanese teacher training course in the Brazilian Japanese Center in São Paulo. And then the following year, in 2019, I went to Japan, to JICA Yokohama for the teacher's training. And 2 years ago, in 21, I finally got my JLPT N1. So we will be talking a lot about games and animes, mangas, and such. So I'd like to show some of my favorite ones. First, about games, the one I really like the most is the Guilty Gear series. It's a fighting game series. And also for RPGs like Atelier series and challenging games like Dark Souls series. About mangas, I really like Yotsubato, like the slice of life, the simple themes I really like those. And also shonen like One Piece or Kimetsu no Yaiba. And finally, gambling mangas, mystery mangas like Kaiji or Liar Game. I really like those a lot. And well, back then I started learning Japanese because I wanted to be a pro gamer in Japan. Well, that didn't really work, but still nowadays I'm still playing at some tournaments in Brazil just as a hobby. And well, what we will be talking today, first, I'd like to give some introduction as to why I started studying Japanese and why I was using games and animes for it. And then I'll be explaining my own experience, like how I was learning Japanese using games or animes and such. Then later, when I became a teacher, I still need to study more about Japanese. So I went back to the Japanese pop culture, the Japanese media to learn more about Japanese. Then last, I will try to summarize a bit every kind of media I use it, how I use it, and how it can be used in classes. So first, about the introduction. Well, when I was a kid, of course, I really watched a lot of Dragon Ball or Yu Yu Hakusho, a lot of animes, a lot of tokusatsu. However, these were all on the Brazilian television, so it was all in Portuguese. Even the songs were in Portuguese, so it it really back then I didn't even know it was about Japan or such. And also for games like Final Fantasy, I played it in Japanese. However, I would look at magazines, I would look for guides. So I just ignored the Japanese part and play the games. And my parents also didn't use Japanese at all. They don't know Japanese. So when I was a kid, I really didn't knew Japanese at all. So I went to the Japanese school. However, I wasn't really interested. I was really a bad student. So uh, I spent a lot of years there and couldn't go past hiragana and katakana. However, this changed when I went to to the university. At the university, I met some new friends which were more otaku than me. So they showed me a lot of the Japanese game culture, especially the Japanese tournaments, the Japanese game centers. And when I saw this, I was really amazed. Like so many people playing, so many people cheering. It was a really big stage. So for that was the first time I saw, oh, that's cool. I want to go to Japan. I want to see this. So in 2007, I went to Japan for work. I got an arubaito there, so a temporary job. And I saw like, well, I know some English. I can read hiragana. I can read katakana. So maybe I can kind of get there somehow. And well, it was a disaster. Um, I was in a really small town called Miyoshishi near Nagoya in Aichi-ken. And being such a small town, of course, English didn't help. No one could understand what I was talking about. And the Japanese were all kanjis and such, so I couldn't read anything. Also at work, the bosses would talk in Japanese, and I really realized that I didn't know anything about Japanese. So uh, I couldn't help. So half a year later, I went back to Brazil and I decided that I wanted to get better at the fighting games. I like it. And I also wanted to talk to the Japanese players. Um, and also I brought a lot of manga, CDs, magazines from Japan. Like and I saw, well, maybe I could use this to learn some Japanese. Maybe I should learn some and try going again. So I started by reading this Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Break Encyclopedia. Uh, it's a it's a guide, so there's a lot of basics, techniques, combos, everything for the fighting games. However, back then they were all in Japanese, so there was no English version, Portuguese version at all. And back then, Google Translate wasn't a thing, so I couldn't just throw everything in Google Translate and try my best. So I decided I wanted to read this to get better at games. Well, of course, if you look at this, it's like there's a lot of kanji, there's no furigana, so it's not something a beginner could read at all. So it was really hard. Uh, I could kind of read one page per day at most. So it took me almost a year to read everything. However, there were some key points that I noticed it helped me a lot while I was trying to read it. The first was I understood the subject. It's a game I like. It's a game I played like every day. So I could kind of understand. I would translate the words and get it more or less what they were trying to talk about. So this made me a bit easier. Also, I decided to write my own dictionary. Um, I would separate the kanjis by kanji strokes and note every word. I would write every word I found here and put the reading and the Portuguese meaning. Sometimes the Portuguese meaning didn't match with the game, so I would put in English too. It was really complicated. However, by creating this dictionary, it really helped improve my vocabulary a lot, and the reading became gradually faster. So I could check my own dictionary instead of looking for a dictionary online. And it was really fun, like creating this, um, note, writing every new word and looking for it. It was a different kind of fun, but still fun. So when I was reading it and I noticed, oh, I can understand this. I kind of understood what they were talking about. That was really satisfying. Like it was everything in Japanese, everything with a lot of kanjis. And even then I could kind of understand what was talking about. That was really satisfying and became my motivation to learn more about Japanese. So the next thing I went to try my luck at the mangas I bought in Japan. The good part from the mangas, it's because uh, there's a story. So, and also there's images. So even if you don't understand the text completely, you kind of get what they are talking about by the image. Um, and also again, I really like it was the slice of life ones, because it would talk about the Japanese life, how the Japanese, uh, the everyday of a Japanese, so the school, the work, or just playing around. So it was really good because when you read something like a shonen manga, like Naruto or Bleach, there's a lot of difficult words. There's a lot of words you don't really see in real life. However, these slice of life mangas like this one, the Karakai Jouzu no Takagi-san or Yotsubato, they really talk about the Japanese life, so you can get a lot of useful words that you would use if you went to Japan. So this one were really good. However, when studying with mangas, there were some issues. Mangas use a lot of spoken language, so it's not word that you can find in dictionaries. Like this example is from Tokyo Revengers. Tokyo Revengers is a delinquent manga, so they talk a lot of uh, harsh words, like words that you can't use every day. So if you don't understand like zurizo, where this coming from? Uh, well, it's the word zurui. However, it's spoken language, so it became zuri. So that's a problem when I was trying to read, like I was still a beginner, so I didn't know the word. And well, however, all in all, I could kind of understand the mangas. And then I decided to try the JLPT for the, and I got the Yonkyuu. Back then, there were only 4 levels of JLPT, so I got the first one. When I was a kid, I tried JLPT once, the Yonkyuu. However, I thought it was too hard, so I was kind of surprised that I could get the Yonkyuu now, and it really became my motivation to study more. So I want to know more about Japanese. And then I got my Nintendo DS. Oh, it's old by now, but Yeah. And I started playing games in Japanese on my DS. So I would play anywhere. I would be in line for, uh, I don't know, the bank or such, and I would be playing. I would be playing inside the bus. I would be playing everywhere. So it helped a lot in being in contact with Japanese every day. Also, I got this Kanken DS. It's not really a game. It's a study material for the kanji kentei in Japan, which is the kanji test. So this one really helped me improve my kanji, not only the readings, but also writing and so on. Also, not only games, but I tried to use the internet in Japanese too. So my YouTube, I would use in Japanese. I would use my Twitter in Japanese, and not only the language, but also changing the region. So you can get more Japanese content for you. Also, by using it every day, uh, even if I didn't know how to read these uh, these kanjis, like trending or so, by looking at it every day, I kind of assimilated what it means. So maybe I couldn't read, but I could understand. So that's fine. Also, back in the 2010s, Nico Nico video was a thing. Um, Japanese didn't use YouTube so much, so every Japanese video was in Nico Nico. Well, nowadays it's not really used anymore. It's still up there, but I just check it sometimes for mangas or so. And by using the internet every day and playing games in Japanese every day, like being in touch with Japanese every day, I tried the JLPT. And well, the key points here was because there was a lot of variety. Like I wasn't just playing the same game every time. I was playing a lot of games. I would be checking the internet for different videos, gaming videos, or YouTuber videos, everything. Also, uh, it became an environment where there was only Japanese. Like here in Brazil, it's really hard to be in touch with Japanese all the time because, well, everyone talks in Portuguese. It's Portuguese everywhere. So in order to assimilate the Japanese, I would use Japanese wherever I could. So the internet in Japanese, the games in Japanese. I would take notes in Japanese sometimes. And also there were a lot of interesting stuff on the internet in Japanese. It's like not only the games and the animes that I like it so much, but also like news or new shops in Japan or sightseeing spots in Japan. That was really interesting. So by watching interesting stuff every day, you don't get tired of it, you don't get bored. So you can keep studying Japanese without that, without being bored, without being, oh, that's enough. I kind of got tired of it. So there was nothing of it. So the next years, I went for the JLPT again, and I got the Sun Q and the new N3 JLPT N3, now with the 5 levels. So I was in a row. Like in 2008, I got the Young Q. In 2009, I got the Sun Q. Then I got the N3. So 2011, I went for the N2. However, I failed like badly. It was a disaster. Well, from N3 to N2, there's quite a gap. So, oh well, couldn't help it. However, by now I could kind of understand Japanese. So I went to Japan, this time not for work, but for traveling, sightseeing, and everything. And I went to Akihabara, I went to the game centers, I visited a lot of game centers, I met some famous players there. Also, I entered some tournaments. And of course, I tried a lot of different food. So back then I was really amazed, like, oh, now I can understand. Now I know Japanese. And it was really satisfying. I really thought, oh, I'm Nihongo jozu, 日本最強. So it was really, really satisfying uh, realizing that I could understand Japanese. So with all this motivation, I went for the JLPT N2 again and failed again. So, oh well, maybe it's hard, so I'll try one more time, and I failed again. Um, the reason for this is pretty simple. Like, I went to Japan, I was able to talk with the Japanese, I could understand Japanese, I could read my mangas, I can play my games. So basically, all my objectives were done. So I didn't have any more motivation to keep studying and going higher. So I kind of stopped it there. However, a few years later, I read about the JICA program where you could go to Japan to study. And I thought, well, in order to get into the program, I would need to study Japanese again. However, this time I also didn't look for a Japanese school. I went back to mangas and games again. So this time I got into a scanlation group, which is where they scan the mangas and then translate it on the internet. The manga I chose was Capeta, a racing manga, since I like racing a lot. And why a scanlation group this time? Well, basically, oh, by the way, that's my name there in the credits. Basically, uh, first, there's a translation check, like there's a reviewer. So you must do everything right. So there was times where I would check and check again and he write it everything again. I would I would have to correct a lot of things. And because of this, my translation became more sharper. Also, when I'm reading manga by myself, sometimes there are words that I don't understand or some stuff that I just ignore because it's not important. However, when you're translating for other people, you really need to get those details, the character expressions, the dialects, everything right. So something like this, when I saw this Kansai Ben for the first time, I was like, this is not Japanese, what is this? So I had to look for a Kansai Ben dictionary on the internet in order to translate this. And realizing that there were other kind of Japanese language in Japan was like really fun. So it, it got me more interested in knowing more about the Japanese language. Also, I would translate not only mangas, but also I would translate like articles and news from the internet in order to practice my Japanese. And this translation, I would bring it to my teacher. It was my friend who was a teacher back then, so I would bring it to him like every day. I think I was really annoying back then, but really I was showing almost every day my translations in order to study. And well, it kind of worked. Um, After all this, I went for the N2 again and finally got it. So I got my N2, and in order to become, in order to participate in the JICA program, uh, I became a Japanese teacher because to get into the JICA training course, I need some experience in something Japanese related. It didn't have to be a Japanese teacher, but that was the only thing I thought I could do it. So I became a Japanese teacher in the Registro Japanese Culture Association here. There's a Japanese school there, so I started teaching there. And that school was also in the São Paulo Southwest region, study group. This study group are like 7 or 8 schools, Japanese schools here, which they would gather for events like uh, camping or sports or cooking. There's a lot of activities here. And well, the thing I noticed was like uh, every single teacher, every single sensei was talking Japanese. Every reunion, every meeting was in Japanese. And like I could understand what they were talking about. But since I always studied Japanese alone and by translating and such, I couldn't speak Japanese. Um, it really was really hard. Also, I was really shy, so just doing a simple self-introduction like はじめまして、Fabiano です。よろしくお願いします was like really, really hard. So, however, I saw like, well, I'm a Japanese teacher now. I must learn how to speak Japanese properly. So, how do I do it? Well, uh, I use it a lot of animes and mangas and games and so on until now, so I'll keep using. This time, I focused on animes and dramas. Uh, I would listen to the lines, pause it, repeat the lines, listen to the next line, pause it, repeat the line. Like I was repeating every line that came out in the animes and dramas in order to be able to put out my Japanese, because when I was trying to talk in Japanese, I would think a lot and nothing came out or like didn't came out properly. So by using this repeating, I could train my brain to talk Japanese a bit more natural. Also, it really helped with the pronunciation of the words. When you are a teacher and you have some weird pronunciation, it really sticks to the students too. So I was really uh, scared of it. Like I noticed when I was talking in classes, I would use ne a lot, like, 行きますね. はい、やりましょうね. So this ne was also, my students also started using a lot, so I had to be careful with it. Also, like I said, I was really shy. I didn't really think I could talk in front of people. So by repeating the lines alone and then trying to talk with the other teachers, it really helped it. So I could really put out my voice so everyone could listen. Also, not only the dramas, but I also went to karaoke and J-pop and such. First, I would try to translate the words by myself in order to understand what I'm singing. And then I would sing like watching on YouTube or some karaoke box or such. And this helped me a lot to memorize the words because it's a song. It's easier to memorize a song rather than just words. Also, when you are singing karaoke in Japanese, a lot of kanjis show up. Well, when they have the furigana, it's still okay, but sometimes the karaoke doesn't have them, so it became really hard. So it kind of became a way to study kanji too. And by training my voice like every day with manga, with dramas and karaoke, I finally got able to speak in Japanese a bit better. So I went for the JICA training course in Japan in 2018-19. I spent like 3 months in Japan studying how to teach Japanese better and learning more about the Japanese culture, not only the the traditional culture like origamis and shodo, but also the modern culture like the VTubers and such. It was really fun, like the some of the best days of my life. We also went for a lot of places like Kyoto and Nara. So when I came back from the JICA program, uh, we had this Japanese teacher seminar in Sao Paulo where I did a presentation about the use of animes, mangas in classes, which, and then a year later, I got married. uh, So, yeah, my wife is also a Japanese teacher. So by now, we talk like in Japanese at home, like every day. And we watch a lot of dramas together and also reading mangas. We have uh, a lot of mangas here. So by having this Japanese every day, I finally went for the JLPT N1 and got it uh, like 2 years before. And nowadays we have our own school, our Japanese school, where we still talk a lot about anime and Japanese culture. We try to implement some anime stuff in classes too, like this Kimetsu no Yaiba and Momotaro collaboration. Uh, and well, that's about it. That's about how I studied Japanese. So I'd like to talk about a bit about how to use each media to study Japanese. First, about games. Uh, well, games are really fun. Uh, I could play them like nonstop. Like studying Japanese for 10 hours is really harsh. However, playing games for 10 hours, I could do it without any problem. So it's basically 10 hours just listening and watching Japanese. Uh, what's so good about games? Well, first, there's the stories. Man. So a lot of interesting stories. You wanna play more to know more about it. Uh, and now a lot of games also get Netflix adaptation. So it's really deep stories, interesting ones. Also, when you're playing games in Japanese, not only Japanese, but when you're playing games, there's a lot of repetition. Like your character will say the same line like 1,000 times when you're playing. So you're attacking and he's like, Kurae or Nani. So you hear that like 1,000 times. And well, now I know what it means. Also, not only playing games, but just watching them on YouTube or Twitch can be really fun too. Um, you can watch Japanese players playing the same game as you, so it's really interesting. You can also hear them talking about the game in Japanese and try to get some words from it. And next, about mangas. Well, mangas has a lot of images, a lot of drawings, so it's a bit easier to follow even if you don't understand the text. Also, there's a lot of terms, so you can find one you like, and you can read them as many times as you want it, as many times as you need it. Like I probably read Yotsubato like 4 or 5 times by now, and when I read for the first time, well, there were a lot of things I couldn't kind of understand. Uh, like children's songs in Japanese or such. So when I read for the third or the fourth time, where I had a better understanding of the Japanese culture, uh, I finally understood what was that song. So it's really fun to read again and notice the small details you missed it the first time. And well, uh, creating your own dictionary, I think it's a really good way to study Japanese. because when you search a word or a sentence in a dictionary, um, the meaning comes up. However, sometimes that meaning doesn't match exactly the scene you are reading. So by putting your own memo, your own notes into it, it becomes a better dictionary than just an online dictionary. However, like I said, the problem with manga is the spoken language. So sometimes like there are words you can find in the dictionary or different way of talking like kansai ben or tsugaru ben. So that may be a problem. However, I think this is where we as a teacher can help a lot. Like when a student came to us and couldn't understand uh, the meaning of a word he found in a manga, like I said, oh, this one's like this. Sometimes when you're talking, instead of saying sugoi, we say suge. So after that, every word that ended with a, he kind of got the meaning. So by not only studying by himself, but also with our help, I think uh, the students can improve a lot with manga. Nowadays, there's a lot of sites where you can read manga for free online. Sometimes it's just the first three chapters or so. However, since we are just trying to learn Japanese, that's more than enough. I'll put these links later in the message. So, or in the Twitter, there are also a lot of artists who put their short mangas or yonkomas on Twitter. If you can find some Twitter artists, please follow them. It's also a good way to get more material. About using the internet, like we all use the internet every day. Uh, like I'm with my smartphone all day long. So by trying to use it in Japanese, we can really be in touch with Japanese all the time. Also, when you like some stuff in the Instagram or YouTube, and it's in Japanese, the algorithm will show you more stuff in Japanese. So it's a really, it's a cycle thing. So you see something Japanese, you like it, and you get recommended more stuff in Japanese and so on. Yeah. Also, by following your favorite artists, your favorite singers in the social media, you can see what they are up to if they're releasing a new book, a new song or so. Uh, it's another, it's really interesting to know more about your favorite artists, your favorite uh, players and such on. Also, when watching streams on YouTube and Twitch, it's a really good way to become used to Japanese. Like the big streamers are a bit hard to follow. Like they have a lot of viewers, so you might not get noticed or they are talking too fast. However, the small streamers like mm, 50 or 100 people watching, they are really, how can I say, like, they really pay attention when you talk to them. So even if you just send oh, konnichiwa, they will answer you and they will try to talk to you. Like, they will be really happy that there's someone from overseas trying to uh, talk to them, watching them play. So I really recommend trying it at least once. About animes and drama, like I said, for repeating the lines is really useful. Um, like to get used to pronunciation, to the intonation of the words. Also, animes and dramas has a lot of a lot of different characters. So you have the shy ones, you have the the delinquent ones. So you can listen to a lot of different kind of Japanese. Also, you can learn a lot of different dialects like the Kansai Ben I said before, or even Okinawa and such on. However, when you are trying to learn Japanese from animes and dramas, I recommend first trying to watch it with the subtitles in order to understand the story, what they are talking about. Then you go back and watch it one more time without the subtitles, this time trying to understand the Japanese. Uh, this way, I feel it flows better than just listening a bit and pausing, looking for the words and watching a bit more, pausing again. I feel like watching everything once with subtitles, going back and watching without subtitles is a better way to get used to the Japanese more naturally. Also, uh, when you are using music or karaoke to learn Japanese, well, first, I recommend trying to the try to translate the lyrics first. Uh, Not finding the translation online, that's cheating. So try to translate by yourself. Then you have to memorize the lyrics in order to sing it. So you can get a lot of new words from it. And well, just by singing, you are practicing Japanese. So I really recommend to sing a lot. And also when you are singing karaoke, there's a lot of kanji, so we have to learn those too. It's really a complete package, right? You can uh, practice your pronunciation, you can practice your voice, you can practice your translation, and also your kanji. So basically, when using all these medias to learn Japanese, the important part is that uh, you put yourself in a lot of different situations where you use Japanese. Uh, the Japanese you found in a game might be different from the Japanese from a manga like Tokyo Revengers, which may be different from a romance manga like Chihaya Furu. So these different situations is really important when trying to learn Japanese. Also, not using only one media like manga or only games, but using a lot of different media. Um, it's really a way to not get bored, not get tired of Japanese. Like you may get a burnout if you watch it too much. So try to get some variation. And also, when you are interested in something, it doesn't really matter if it's too difficult, if it's too hard. Like when I tried to read that guide back then, it was really hard. However, it was something I was interested. Uh, so I went for it anyways. It's different when just you are studying in a Japanese school. The Japanese material we have, the books we have, they are really careful not to put like kanjis we didn't study yet or words that we don't know or like grammar we don't know. However, when you are playing games or you are reading manga, there's none of it. They will throw out all the kanjis, all the words at you at once. So you have to learn it somehow. It's really harsh, it's really hard. However, if you're interested in it, it can become a really great motivation for you. Also, getting into a routine like reading a bit of manga every day, well, that's really important. However, the most important one is trying to put Japanese language into your daily life. So when I'm using internet in Japanese, I may not be studying Japanese, but I'm in touch with it. So for example, when a new student comes to our school and he says, oh, I watch anime every day, you can really notice that they kind of get the words quite fast when practicing conversation or practicing any new words. They kind of get it really quickly, probably because they are watching so much, they are listening so much in Japanese. They may not realize it, but it's like inside their heads, there's some Japanese there. So it's our job as teachers to be able to pull it out. So like just be in touch with Japanese every day. I think it's the really most important one. So I really, when I find something interesting, I will definitely share with my students so they can be in touch with a bit more of Japanese. There's a student that really likes like turtles. It's like a turtle otaku. So every time I see something about turtles in Japan, I will send it to her. Oh, there's this zoo where there's a lot of turtles. I would send it to her. So with this, she learned a lot of new words. Well, everything was related to turtles, but well, it's new words, so it's fine. And well, and that's about it. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Well, and I talked a lot of my experience in learning Japanese. Also, I saw there's a lot of Japanese teachers there, so maybe some stuff works. Oh, it's the same all around the world. And well, that's it. ありがとうございました。And now we'd like to move to the questions part. If anyone has any questions, it can be about the presentation, it can be about like anything. Anything's fine.
Can I ask you some questions then?
Oh, please.
When you were watching animes and manga at the time, did you study Japanese with a textbook or nothing? Just watched movies and read mangas?
Oh, I also use some textbooks. I wasn't going to a Japanese school, but I was always looking for some study material on the internet. So like by only playing games, I saw I could understand the games. However, for the JLPT, I will have to study more about the structures and so on. So yeah, I also use some textbook, especially the JLPT ones. However, the most of the words and the grammar kind of came from mangas and such.
Okay, thank you. Then,
Thank
how
you.
many hours did you study Japanese? You said every day, but I'm
Oh,
curious.
how many hours? Well, it was like I was working with my father in our small shop. So whenever I was free, I would be studying a bit of Japanese. And well, I also play a lot of games. So well, I'd say I'd be actively studying Japanese like maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. However, I would be playing games in Japanese like up to 6, 7 hours a day, maybe.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, well, I don't really recommend it to my students, but it's something I did. Yeah. Oh, how to study from N2 to N1. Oh, that's a good one. Um, well, first, I use it textbook. It's what was the name? It's something like the Taigo Kaku JLPT N1 or something. It's what was the name? Like Mogi Shiken something. For the N1, it has a lot of uh, JLPT questions. So it's like, in order to get to N1, to be honest, it's not really just knowing Japanese, but also how the JLPT works. So I did a lot of JLPT questions for the N1, but I think the most effective one is like reading a lot, because first, the JLPT, the time is really strict. There's so little time for so many questions and so much text. So you really need to read everything fast. Also, uh, by reading a lot, you get a lot of new words, new vocabulary, which is probably the most important part of JLPT. When you are just like studying for the JLPT, there's like too many words to learn. So just by studying textbooks, it's probably not enough. So by reading a lot of articles, a lot of stuff in Japanese, that was probably the one that helped the most for me, at least. And the listening part of the JLPT, I feel like the Japanese level from the listening part is a bit lower than the rest of the test. Like the reading part, I find it's the hardest one. So the listening is not that hard. So if you can like talk to someone in Japanese every day in order to practice, or like just listening to a lot of Japanese, be it dramas or TV shows or anything, it's probably enough for the listening part. So the hardest one, the reading and the grammar ones, I would really recommend to read a lot, anything from news to Harry Potter to mangas to anything. Oh, thank you.